Okay, so this movie won't win any Oscars, but it might pick up a Golden Globe or two. Let's dive straight in and find out how to record movies like these onto the SD card of the ESP32 CAM microcontroller. Hook it up to some sensors and it could form the basis of a really neat home surveillance system, or even a very basic body cam. I'll assume you already have your ESP32 CAM all set up to receive code from your computer. If you haven't, then check out my dual webcam tutorial. There's a link in the description. So the code we need to get the webcam working as a video recorder is in this GitHub repository here. I've linked to it in the description below. I'll just point out that this isn't my code, it's somebody else's. So this code itself is a cut down version of the ESP32 CAM video recorder. This is suitable for our needs. So to get the code, you click on the green code button here and click on download zip. Okay, so that shouldn't take very long, it's about 1.3 megabytes. Once you've downloaded the code, unzip the zip file and you'll find a folder. So go into this folder and then go into this one with the long name. So you should find this .ino file, and hopefully if you have the Arduino software already installed, then it will know that it's an Arduino file. So double click to open this file. So once the code loads into the Arduino IDE, I recommend you go to Sketch and then Verify and Compile. This won't upload it to your device, it will just check that the code is okay and there's nothing missing. It will say compiling Sketch while this is running. Right, okay, so now it looks like it's okay. The first time I ran it though, I did have an error, and that's because a library was missing. It might be the same with yours as well. So if you get a red error here, go to Tools, Manage Libraries, and the library that I didn't have is this one, the Wi-Fi Manager. So I had to install this one before the code would compile, and it's Wi-Fi Manager by TZAPU. So if you have problems that says that this library is missing, then click on install here. I don't think the version number matters, just like it has here. So make sure this one is installed. It should then compile and then you can upload it. So this will work out of the can, especially if you just have a standard ESP32 CAM module like mine is called. So the one I'm using is the AI Thinker ESP32 CAM. By the way, once again, if you look at my dual webcam video, if you haven't got this all set up, so the board is here, AI Thinker ESP32 CAM. So this code worked for this particular board without anything changing. Obviously you have to change to your port here and then upload the sketch. So there's a number of settings here. Probably the most important one that you'll need to change for your own requirements is this AVI_length. So this is how long the movies are recorded for. So the default was 1800 seconds, i.e. 30 minutes. So that was way too long for my requirements. So I've changed it to 60, so it will take a series of 1 minute videos. And I haven't really changed any of these. I believe it will only take 1 frame per second. You might be able to change these settings. Here. So if you right click and go on peak definition, then it will tell you the different resolutions. You might be able to up the frame rate if you decrease the size of the images recording. So my movies were recording in 720 and could easily take 1 frame per second. So let's close that. The other thing I did is include internet. It does potentially allow you to stream the images, but because I was taking videos outside without Wi-Fi, I turned include internet to 0. The other thing you need to do here is the dev string here. If you change this, then it will prefix all the videos with this string. So once you've uploaded the code to the ESP32, remember to put a SD card in the device and then just start recording. So this is what I ended up with on the SD card after I went to the beach and took a load of movies. So I'll open up this file and have a quick look. So as you can see, the video quality isn't bad. It's fairly high definition. The only thing that really lets it down is the frame rate. So there were a number of oddities. You'll notice that it says coding with Brett, but there's only one T there. I don't know if the SD card has limitations on file name length or whether it's a bug or something with the code I downloaded. The other issue I found is that some of the movies didn't actually record. I'm not entirely sure why this happened. So I did end up with quite a few movies, but there were quite a few that were missing. I took some of the C and I definitely don't have those, so I don't know why they didn't record. I should just mention that the code we're using here does flash the LED while the recording is in progress. So that's handy because obviously there's no viewfinder and you can't see what it's actually doing. Another thing to bear in mind is that if you pull the power lead out, then obviously it will stop recording and it might corrupt the very last video you shot. Something I've also noticed with the playback is that it doesn't always keep going at the end, so there is additional footage here, but the media player thinks the video has stopped. I'm not too sure what's happened there. One annoying thing about the ESP32 CAM is that you'll notice when you first start taking photos there's quite a greenish tint to them. You can definitely notice it in this picture here. So as I run it forward, it appears that the green tint does actually go. So I would recommend, if you're taking videos, to start with a few frames. Just ignore those if you're doing something with them afterwards. So this picture coloration isn't too bad now. This one doesn't seem to have quite such a greenish tinge at the start. I don't think it's quite so bad when you're taking movies, but it can be a huge problem if you're taking images. One other thing I'll point out is that because there's no viewfinder, obviously you don't really know what the camera's taking photos of. Because I'm using a fisheye lens, I did find that some of the footage I had my fingers and hands in the footage, so just be aware of that. I do have another lens, but it seems to have broken, so I was forced to use the fisheye lens for this tutorial. This lens also has quite a bit of distortion. It seemed to be more noticeable when I was moving quite quickly. Here I'm walking, so that made a big difference. So I think the fisheye lens is quite good. I do quite like the lens flare. It gives quite a pleasing effect that you see on much more expensive lenses. So once you've shot your movies, you can load them into whatever video editor you like using. I use the PC desktop version of CapCut. It seemed to load in the files and they were editable without any problems really. So I would say that I got the best results out of the ESP32 CAM footage when I sped it up. Here I highlight a clip, go to speed, and then increase the speed to 4 times. This particular clip of the sea looks quite good, I think. This actually is just a still image zoomed in, and I did resort to using quite a few of the still images. Again, this is another still image, but I've used some effects in CapCut to make it look like it's moving. I did quite like the exposure on this. I think it did a pretty good job of exposing the backlit scene here. Again, that lens flare is pretty nice on this lens. This is another clip that I sped up. This time I sped it up 3 times. If you're going to do these, then I recommend that you increase it from 30 seconds to maybe 2 or 3 minutes per clip. If you want to watch this movie, there's a link in the description below. So if you have any questions about the ESP32 CAM and how to take movies on it, then put a comment below. Thanks for watching.